So we're going to watch this video straight from Hapara, and this is a great overview of highlights, much better than I could possibly do, hence why I'm showing you this. So we'll take a look at that.
An ideal online lesson would have learners browsing only the websites that the teacher pre-selected, would prevent learners from distractions like cat videos on YouTube, and would ensure that learners had something to show for their time online at the end of the lesson. However, we all know that this is not always the case in a real classroom. Learners can quickly get off task if you don't have a solid game plan. Before you know it, kids are using VPNs to get around the school's firewall, playing solitaire, or simply spacing out. Hapara Highlights helps you stay on your game by facilitating an environment that blocks out all of those distractions. The aim of Hapara Highlights is to help you create online lessons that are meaningful, purposeful, and engaging so learners can get the most out of their time spent online. In this video, you will learn how Hapara Highlights can help you make the most of learner time spent online and implement active learning in your classroom. Hapara Highlights is designed to follow best practices for internet-based lessons. One of those best practices, and perhaps the most important one, is focusing on active learning. Basically, this means learners are actively engaged in learning rather than simply consuming information. In an online lesson based on active learning, it is important to plan assignments that require learners to problem solve, form an opinion, or work with real-life examples. You can do this by incorporating videos, audio clips, discussion, and collaboration into the lesson. Highlights allows you to schedule browsing sessions and focus their parameters so that they encourage active learning. This feature is called guide browsing, and it allows you to conduct focused sessions where learners have access to only a few websites that you specify, or filter sessions, where learners are prevented from accessing websites that you specify. You can direct learners to specific websites or links that pertain to a lesson without the confusion that sometimes ensues when learners are trying to find the correct page. You can even schedule how long they stay on each page and ensure that learners see information in the correct order, leading to a beautifully choreographed lesson. Differentiation is simplified because Highlights allows you to guide browsing for the whole class, specific learners, or groups. Everything can be pre-programmed, which will save you time and allow you and the learners in your class to actually focus on the lesson at hand. An internet-based lesson can be tricky at times. Even as adults, we're all guilty of wandering off task at work to peruse Facebook or make a quick Amazon order. So, with all of that power to roam at their fingertips, can you blame kids for basically doing the same thing? With Highlights, you can check out what learners are doing online during a lesson using the Activity Viewer, Browser tabs, or Current Screens features. These features give you a bird's eye view into learner progress. Even if they aren't off task, they may be going in the wrong direction. So, checking up on what they're doing can help you get them back on track, whatever the issue may be.
Just want to stop it here so I can just point out the colors on the student tabs. And just a reminder from other videos, if you haven't noticed that before, that's to indicate the groups that these students are in. So you can see this Jenny and Luana are in the same group, and because they both are in this purple group, and as is James Kent. So it's just something to note.
For example, perhaps you assign them 3 websites to research, and after 30 minutes, you see that Jimmy is still on the first one. Maybe there's a problem. Maybe he's confused about something. Highlights gives you the power to see what's going on, intervene, and help the learner with the problem. One way that Highlights allows you to intervene is by giving you the ability to communicate quickly using the send message feature or via email by clicking on the drop-down in the Learner Student tile. It also allows you to give very specific formative feedback in an efficient way. This way, you are in constant contact with the learner, and you can put out fires when they happen. Instead of a learner going weeks without understanding a concept, you could potentially reverse that misunderstanding in minutes. For example, let's say you give learners an assignment where they have to evaluate primary and secondary online resources. Suppose you see that a learner is on the blog site of a popular political commentator and makes a note in his Google Doc that this is a good secondary source for helping voters decide which candidate to pick in the upcoming election. Since this blog post is probably very one sided and doesn't explore all of the issues and candidates' platforms, the learner probably doesn't understand fully what a trustworthy secondary resource is. You can quickly help the learner understand by sending a quick instant message like, Jeff, this blog doesn't look like it explores all of the issues. I suggest you check out a website that has info about all of the candidates' views. Finally, it seems like being a teacher these days requires a lot of documentation. A parent may want to see concrete results, or an administrator may need student work for a special education file. Highlights allows you to take screenshots of what a learner is working on while online. We call them snaps. You can take a snap by going to the activity viewer, hovering over a learner's activity, and clicking the camera icon that appears. Snaps provide an image of what the learner was viewing as well as information about when it was taken. Snaps are easy to access from your Highlights account for 7 days after they are taken. If you want to save them beyond that window, you can easily email them to yourself too. It's a great way to do things like document learner progress and show learners how far they've come towards achieving the desired objective. The internet is an amazing tool for learning. It gives teachers the ability to expose learners to a variety of voices and perspectives around the globe, making the learning environment much more powerful. With Hapara Highlights, the possibilities are endless.